welcome to the Courageous Self-Care Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this show, we get into self-care that goes beyond bubble baths, chocolate, and wine. It's the self-care that goes deep. That's why it takes courage. It can get quite uncomfortable. You often need a guide for it because, hey, you don't know what you don't know. And it changes your life. Be sure to stick around to the end. I've got a free resource that I've created for you. So this month we are discussing Courageous Self-Care Foundation number 3. There are 12 different foundations and they all kind of interweave together. The one that we're doing this month is growing your gratitude. And in the last few episodes, I've explained why gratitude is so profoundly life-changing. Has been for me and countless other people around the world. It just makes such an incredible difference. So today we're incorporating sleeping well and gratitude practice. And what I want to share with you is a simple ritual that will help you sleep better. Isn't that fantastic? And that's what it's done for me. So first of all, let's get into one of the reasons for poor sleep. This has to do with your last thoughts. Well, the last half hour of thoughts culminating into going to sleep really set the tone for the quality of sleep and the quality of rest you're going to get. And the issue is with many people, either they're ingesting media that has a really low vibration, meaning it's violent, it's bad news, it's designed to make you worry and anxious. And if that's what you're doing for the last hour or so before sleep, that is going to affect the quality of your sleep because what you're setting up is what continues to carry on through the night. It takes your subconscious there. Also with your thoughts, if at the last few minutes of the day you're drifting off and you're thinking, ugh, I didn't get that done. Oh no, I wish I showed up differently in that situation. Oh, I'm such a loser. When am I ever going to learn? How well do you think you're going to sleep? The answer seems obvious now, right? Not very well. And so all of those energies, all of those thoughts contribute and keep us on the side of lack. Lack is not having enough of. And as I explained in a previous episode, lack is where, for the most part, society lives. We're very attached to lack because it's that lower energy. It's easier to complain than it is to lift ourselves up. And if we're in a habit of that, then we have neural pathways that are just continuously going that way. So before sleep, we want to actually move into gratitude. And the reason is that gratitude has a much higher energy. It has a higher vibration, and it sets you up for a rest that is actually peaceful. It feels better. In the morning, it feels better to wake up. So I have 2 rituals that I have incorporated into my bedtime routine, and I want to share them with you because they do the trick. They very simply take you out of that lack and into gratitude. So the first one is to write down your gratefuls. Now, it is common knowledge that keeping a gratitude journal makes a huge difference in your life. However, in my research with my clients and people that I interact with, most people know about it, but don't take the time to do it. And there is a very different energy between knowing something, well, believing you know it, and then actually doing it. Taking the action is the hard part. It takes courage because, as I've discussed before, there is a part of our brain, it's the reptilian part, that wants to keep everything the same, everything familiar. And some people call that the comfort zone. I heard it once described as the familiarity zone, which I think is a much more accurate description because our comfort zone can be pretty darn uncomfortable, especially if we're in that lack habit. So writing down 3 gratefuls takes some effort. And also what it's going to do is a number of things. So first of all, it brings you into the energy of gratitude. And the energy of gratitude feels wonderful. It is the energy of kindness and thankfulness and appreciation. And don't you want to spend your last few moments of the day there? I sure do, because it makes such a difference, not only to the quality of sleep, but it adds like a bonus onto the end of my day. If I had some wonderful moments, which there always are, sometimes we have to look for them, dig a little bit under the surface, but once we find them, by writing them down, we get to relive them. So I made a commitment to myself a couple years ago. I knew about writing stuff down, and I had a sporadic gratitude journal practice. And I got a download of information from my intuition saying, commit to this. It will be worth your while. And so ever since then, no matter what, I have made it non-negotiable for myself to write down at least 3 points of gratitude every evening before bed. And I figure that takes about a minute. So I am willing to invest 1 minute of my time to ensure that I have a good night's sleep. What can you write about? There are so many different things that you can incorporate into your gratitude journal. You can look around you and say, oh my gosh, I am so grateful for this charm heart that I have. Well, you might not have one, but if I was looking around, I feel so grateful for this. It has a beautiful sound. It's pretty. I love the shape of a heart. It makes me happy. So I'm grateful for that. What else? I'm grateful for index cards. I write down a lot of stuff on index cards, and I'm also grateful for my markers that are in different colors. And I'm grateful for people I've met and their business cards. So obviously I'm not going to go to bed in my office. But looking around wherever you're doing your writing, I'm so grateful for my curtains that keep my house cool in the summer and insulate me from the cold in the winter. So just looking around at your stuff, allowing your mind to focus on the positive and not looking around and going, oh my gosh, there's clutter here. Oh my gosh, that thing is broken. Why do I have that? Releasing that and devoting yourself to a few moments of gratitude where you just feel grateful for what you see around you. Or you could think about people in your life that you're grateful for, past and present. Or you could think about things that we have that make our lives so much easier. Often, like if I've done the laundry that day, I send some gratitude to my washer and dryer because they are doing most of the work for me. I know there are people in the world who spend a good deal of their day doing the laundry or even water coming out of the tap. There are women who walk 6 hours a day to get water there and back, and that's it. I can turn on a tap and have whatever temperature of water I want, and I can have it filtered. I feel so grateful for the water that for years I never even noticed. And then the added bonus of feeling grateful for those things is that there is an energy of, more of an energy going back and forth. It's you interacting with either the people you're grateful for or the items. Energy can go back and forth, even if they're non-living. Appreciating our belongings brings us, well, joy. And it also helps us focus in on what it is that we actually do love. And so if we do notice, oh, that thing over there, I don't actually feel grateful for that, then get rid of it. And then you're cleaning your space and getting into a whole different foundation of courageous self-care. So having this non-negotiable practice of writing down, I commit to at least 3 things. And so when my mind is still trying to negotiate and saying, oh, I'm really tired, I would rather just go to bed, I can say, hey, it's just 1 minute. I can do 1 minute. And more often than not, I end up with a list that's longer than 3 things, but is so worthwhile. Plus, it's going to help you sleep better. It's win-win-win. Okay, so that's part number 2. Here's part number 3. It's called a 5 and 5 practice. I learned this from a blogger, an artist called Kelly Ray Roberts. So this 5 and 5 practice, this is after I've gone to bed, and the older version of my mind wanted to run through mistakes I had made, beat myself up, be hard on myself, think about all the things I didn't get done, and drifting off to sleep. That's not ideal for quality sleep. So I learned this 5 and 5 practice, and again, have made it a non-negotiable. I do it every night, no matter what, as I fall asleep. So on one hand, I count 5 things that I'm grateful for that either have happened that day, or again, they're people or their belongings and possessions, experiences. And then on the other hand, I count 5 things that I feel like I did really well. I've worked with women on this one. It can be challenging because we are used to looking for our faults and flaws rather than what we've done well. So you can start off small. I got dressed in a nice outfit today. I'm proud of myself for that. Or I made a really nice dinner. Or I was mindful when I was washing my hands. These don't have to be big, major accomplishments. If they are, fantastic. And if not, start small, baby steps, learning to appreciate whatever it is that comes up for you that you feel like you did well. And I promise if it's hard at the beginning, it will get easier. So again, this is another muscle that we're building, is gratitude for ourselves. And it can be challenging. And it's worthwhile. So the 5 and 5 is 5 things of gratitude and 5 things that you did well during the day. The gratitude might be the same stuff that showed up on your list, and it's nice to revisit it again. There's no harm in that. And then the 5 proud ofs, it is incredibly powerful. We also do them with our kids. Here's a bonus tip. I do with my kids when we are doing their bedtime ritual. I get them to say 3 things that they're proud of themselves for, to cultivate that habit while they're young so that it's easier when they're older. And then I also say 3 things that I'm proud of them for. And I love that practice because I find out things that happened during their day that I didn't even know about. I find out what makes them tick, what their passions are. And lots of kids are in the space of just trying to make their parents proud. So I want to acknowledge the things that I am proud of them for. And then also I want them to resource that inner sense of fulfillment and satisfaction and accomplishment. So that's why we do that. Those are the keys to using gratitude in your bedtime ritual to get a much better night's sleep. I encourage you to incorporate these in, make them a non-negotiable for yourself. And that doesn't mean that your mind isn't going to keep negotiating. It just means that you have an agreement with yourself that no matter what, it will happen before your head hits the pillow. Or my head never hits the pillow. My head gently lays down on the pillow. So let's incorporate that too. No head hitting the pillow. All right, so I promised you a free gift. And what I want to share with you today is the daily self-care checklist. This is a resource where if you are just new to the idea of courageous self-care, or if you've been following for a while and you want to know some of the other foundations, they're on there in an easy checklist. And then it's not just a checklist, there's a full teaching with step-by-step instructions. So I encourage you to get that for yourself. It's at ChristinaMarlette.com. So let's wrap things up here. I am so grateful that you decided to tune in today. And the show airs Monday through Friday, so be sure to come back and listen again for more great info. We'll be covering gratitude all this month, interspersed with our guest interviews. And on those interviews, if you're new to the show, those are stories of self-care and courage. So I get our guests to share what their favorite courageous self-care practice is, and then share their story of courage. And wow, they are really powerful. So be sure to come back and listen to those as well. If you liked this episode, if you found it useful, I would love and feel grateful for you taking 1 second to click that like button, maybe even share a comment, share it with your friends. If you're listening to the podcast, you can become a follower and then find out when the new episodes come up immediately. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can become a subscriber to the YouTube channel, which is the Courageous Self-Care channel. I would love for you to do that. I love hanging out with you. Even though it feels like I'm just looking into my camera, I really do feel connected to you. And I love sharing what I have spent 10 years learning and many, 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 many dollars and lots of energy and effort invested into this information. So I feel like it's my responsibility to share it with you. And it feels so much better when I know people are listening. So, my last thought for you is that self care is not selfish. It takes courage to prioritize our own well being. And when one woman takes a stand and says, I'm not going to live just for other people, I'm not going to give everything away and settle for running on empty, she has a triple effect. Number one, her energy improves and she feels better. Number two, everyone in her immediate circle benefits from that more pleasant, loving, nurturing energy. And then it also has an energetic ripple throughout the world. And it gives other women the courage, the idea, and the energy to also prioritize their well being. It's a win win win. So there's nothing selfish in that. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to connecting with you again next time. Bye bye for now.